You already know this, but you refuse to believe it. Every single moment of your life, there's a war happening inside you, and most people lose it before breakfast. Self-control isn't about willpower. It's not about being disciplined or having a strong character. That's the lie they sell you in books written by people who inherited their success. Self-control is the ability to override your immediate emotional state in favor of your long-term interests. That's it. But here's what nobody tells you. Your brain doesn't want you to have it. Your brain is designed to keep you alive, not to make you successful. There's a difference, a massive one. The part of your brain that wants the dopamine hit, the instant gratification, the easy path. That part is older, stronger, faster. It's been keeping humans alive for hundreds of thousands of years. The part that plans, that delays gratification, that thinks about next year instead of next hour. That's new, weak, easily overruled. And it takes energy to use it. Real, measurable, physical energy. So when you're tired, stressed, hungry, or emotionally compromised, your brain defaults to the primitive system, the one that wants comfort now. This is why you can plan your entire week on Sunday night and completely abandon it by Tuesday afternoon. Not because you're weak, because you're human. But here's the thing about being human. You can train this, not through motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are weather. They change. Through architecture. Let me explain what I mean. There are people who seem to have endless self-control. They wake up early. They exercise. They eat well. They work on their goals every single day without fail. You think they're just built different. They're not. They've removed the need for control. Think about that for a second. True self-control isn't forcing yourself to do hard things. It's designing your life so the hard things become automatic. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. Always. If you keep junk food in your house, you'll eat it. Not because you lack discipline. Because it's there. Because at some point during your day, your prefrontal cortex will be exhausted and your primitive brain will take over, and it will find the path of least resistance. Every time. This is why the most successful people seem effortless. They're not using willpower. They're using systems. They don't decide whether to work out. They work out at the same time, in the same place, wearing the same clothes. The decision was made once. Now it's just what happens. This is the secret. Self-control isn't a muscle you flex. It's a decision you stop having to make. But let's go deeper. Because there's something else happening here that most people never understand. Your identity. The story you tell yourself about who you are. This story controls everything. If you see yourself as someone who lacks discipline, someone who always quits, someone who can't stick to anything, then self-control becomes an act, a performance, something you're trying to do that goes against your nature. And acts are exhausting. You can only perform for so long before you collapse back into who you think you are. This is why New Year's resolutions fail, not because the goals are too big, because the identity hasn't changed. You're still the person who doesn't exercise, trying to force yourself to exercise. The conflict is built in. Real change happens when you shift the identity first. You don't try to become someone who exercises. You become someone who exercises. The difference sounds small. It's everything. Because once it's part of your identity, you're not using self-control anymore. You're just being yourself. This is how people quit smoking after 20 years. Not through willpower. Through identity shift. They stop seeing themselves as a smoker trying to quit. They become a non-smoker, and non-smokers don't smoke. It sounds simple because it is, but simple doesn't mean easy. Your brain will fight you on this. It has years, maybe decades of evidence that you are a certain way, that you've always been this way, that this is just who you are, and your brain loves consistency. It will protect that story even if that story is destroying you. This is the dark part. The part nobody wants to talk about. You are complicit in your own failure, not because you're lazy or weak, Because your brain has decided that being consistent with your past self is more important than becoming your future self. It would rather be right than be happy, rather be familiar than be free. This is why people return to toxic relationships, why they fall back into old patterns, why they self-sabotage right when things start going well, not because they want to fail, because success would require them to become someone they don't recognize. And that's terrifying. Your brain interprets that as death, the death of who you were. So it pulls you back, makes you comfortable, keeps you safe in your old patterns, even if those patterns are killing you slowly. This is the war. And most people never realize they're fighting it. They think they just need more discipline, more motivation, more willpower. They don't. They need to understand the battlefield. Self-control, real self-control, is about managing your cognitive load. Your brain has a limited amount of decision-making energy each day. This isn't metaphorical. It's literal. Studies show that making decisions depletes glucose in your brain. This is called decision fatigue, and it's why you can resist the donut at 8 in the morning but eat 3 of them at 8 at night. By the evening, your decision-making capacity is gone. Your willpower is a depletable resource, so the question isn't how to have more of it, it's how to use less of it. This is where the truly successful people operate. They automate everything that doesn't matter. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day, not because he lacked creativity, because he understood that deciding what to wear was a waste of cognitive resources. Obama did the same thing. Zuckerberg, too. It's not a coincidence. They're preserving their decision-making energy for the things that actually matter. You're wasting yours on 1,000 micro-decisions that don't. What to eat, what to wear, whether to check your phone, whether to respond to that message, whether to start working or watch one more video. Each decision depletes you. By noon, you're running on empty. And then you wonder why you can't stick to your goals. The answer is you were defeated before you began, not by external circumstances, by your own mind. Here's what changes everything. Routines, not the motivational poster version of routines, the dark, mechanical, ruthlessly efficient version. A routine is a sequence of actions that requires 0 decisions. You wake up. You do the same things in the same order. You don't think. You just move. This is how you preserve your willpower for the moments that matter, the moments where you actually need self-control. Because those moments will come. Life will hit you with unexpected stress, with temptation, with setbacks. And in those moments, if you've already burned through your willpower on meaningless decisions, you'll break. But if you've automated the mundane, you'll have the capacity to handle the critical. This is the difference between people who collapse under pressure and people who thrive in it. It's not that they're stronger. It's that they've been smarter about resource management. They've designed their lives to minimize the need for control in low-stakes situations, so they have maximum control in high-stakes ones. This is strategic self-control, and it's what separates amateurs from professionals in every field. Amateurs rely on how they feel. Professionals rely on what they've built. Now let's talk about what happens when you don't have self-control, because this is where it gets really dark. Without self-control, you are not free. You think you are. You think choosing the easy path, the comfortable path, the path of least resistance is freedom. It's not. It's slavery. You're a slave to your impulses, to your emotions, to your immediate desires. Someone else is always controlling you. The algorithm that feeds you content designed to keep you scrolling. The corporation that engineered food to be as addictive as possible. The advertiser who studied your psychology to make you want things you don't need. You're not making choices. You're being played. And the worst part is, you don't even realize it. You think you're living your life. You're living their design. Self-control is the only way out. It's the only thing that gives you agency. The ability to choose your actions based on your values instead of your impulses. This is real freedom. Not doing whatever you want, whenever you want. but having the power to do what matters even when you don't want to. Most people never experience this. They spend their entire lives reacting to notifications, to cravings, to moods, to other people's demands. They're pinballs in a machine, bouncing from one stimulus to the next, never stopping, never thinking, never choosing, just reacting. And they wonder why they feel empty, why nothing ever changes, why they keep ending up in the same place no matter how much they say they want something different. Because wanting isn't enough. Intention isn't enough. You need the ability to override your default programming, and that's self-control. But here's the paradox. You can't build self-control through willpower alone. You build it through surrender. Surrender to structure, surrender to routine, surrender to systems that are smarter than your in-the-moment decision-making. You have to become someone who doesn't trust their own impulses. Because your impulses are designed to keep you comfortable, not to make you better. This requires a level of self-awareness that most people never develop. You have to be able to observe yourself objectively, to see your patterns, your triggers, your weak points, and then you have to build defenses around them, not through strength, through intelligence. If you know you can't resist social media once you open it, don't try to resist it. Delete the apps. Remove the option entirely. If you know you'll eat junk food if it's in your house, don't buy it. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to choose, because eventually you'll choose wrong. Everyone does. The people who seem to have infinite self-control aren't choosing right more often. They're choosing less often. They've designed their environment so the right choice is the default choice, the easy choice, the path of least resistance. This is the inversion. Instead of making the hard thing easy through willpower, you make the hard thing easy through design. And suddenly, self-control isn't something you need, it's something you have. Without trying. Let me give you a different angle. The people around you. Your environment isn't just physical, it's social. And your social environment might be the most powerful force acting on you. Show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you your future. This isn't a cliche. It's neuroscience. Your brain is wired to conform to your social group. It's a survival mechanism. For most of human history, being excluded from the group meant death. So your brain will do anything to maintain social cohesion. Even if it means abandoning your goals. Even if it means betraying your values. Even if it means becoming someone you don't want to be. If everyone around you is comfortable with mediocrity, your brain will make you comfortable with it too. Not because you're weak, because you're wired for belonging. This is why self-control in isolation is almost impossible. You're fighting biology. But if you change your environment, if you surround yourself with people who have the standards you want to have, your brain starts working for you instead of against you. Suddenly, self-control becomes conformity. You're not fighting to be different. You're fighting to fit in, and fitting in is easy. Your brain loves it. This is how people transform their entire lives. Not through willpower, through proximity. They get close to people who are already living the way they want to live, and their brain does the rest. It observes, it mimics, it adapts, without effort, without force. This is invisible self-control, the kind that doesn't feel like control at all. It just feels like who you are. Now here's the final piece, the piece that ties everything together. Self-control decides success not because it helps you do hard things, but because it helps you become the kind of person who doesn't need to do hard things. Let me say that again. The goal isn't to be someone who constantly exercises willpower. The goal is to be someone who rarely needs it, because you've built a life where the right choices are automatic, where your environment supports you, where your identity aligns with your actions, where your social circle reinforces your standards. This is the end state. And most people never get there because they're focused on the wrong thing. They're trying to be strong when they should be trying to be smart. Strength runs out. Intelligence compounds. Every system you build, Every routine you establish, every environmental change you make, it reduces the amount of willpower you need in the future. It's an investment. And like all investments, it costs something up front. It costs comfort. It costs familiarity. It costs the version of you that you've been for years. But the return is freedom. Real freedom. Not the fake freedom of doing whatever you want in the moment, but the deep freedom of becoming who you're capable of being. And once you're there, once you've built the systems and shifted the identity and changed the environment, self-control stops being a struggle. It becomes invisible. You don't think about it. You don't force it. You just live. And the life you live creates the success you want. Not because you're special, because you understood the game. Most people are playing checkers. They're reacting, moving one space at a time, hoping to survive. You need to play chess, thinking 3 moves ahead, building positions, controlling the board. And in chess, the player who controls the center controls the game. In life, the person who controls themselves controls everything. This is the truth they don't teach you. Success isn't about talent or luck or opportunity. Those things matter. But they're not the foundation. The foundation is self-control, the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. Not forever. Just long enough to build the systems that make feelings irrelevant. And once those systems are in place, you don't need motivation. You don't need inspiration. You don't need anything external. You have something better. Inevitability. Because you've designed a life where success is the path of least resistance, where the default outcome is the one you want. This is the ultimate form of self-control. Control so complete you don't even notice it anymore. You're not forcing yourself to be disciplined. You're not white-knuckling your way through temptation. You're just someone who does what they do, and what you do creates the life you want. That's it. That's the entire game. Everything else is noise.